Man, I don't know about you guys, but after this weekend, I'm a little wrestled out and I'm a little tired. How's it going, everybody? This is Jordan, the Geocard Wrestling here, and I decided to do something a little different with my channel here. I decided that I really don't have any type of notable shows on my channel, if you will, anything that people can recognize me from. So I decided to do kind of like a weekly episode here of Wrestling in Review. Yes, this is not new. Multiple people do this on YouTube and other podcast platforms here. But I decided to do my own show, and I'm going to name it KargKast. The gentleman who gave me this idea for the name, I will leave a link for his Twitter account below. I really appreciate the idea, man. I really, really do. Hopefully, maybe years from now, you can say, man, I came up with that name, or maybe a month from now, you would say, oh man, that was stupid. So it just depends on, how this works out and how well I do with it and how well this whole idea works out here. So I really appreciate the idea, man. That's a really cool idea here. Before I dive in here, as you guys can tell, basically look at the screen here, I am going to review the entire full weekend of WrestleMania 35. I am beat, man. I was there the whole entire weekend. I didn't go to NXT or Hall of Fame, or Raw and SmackDown. I basically just went to Access, WrestleCon, and WrestleMania. But I did watch every single thing that went on this weekend. So I'm very aware of what happened this weekend. I do Raw and SmackDown reviews every single week here on my channel, so I'm not going to dive in detail with every single show. I'm just going to do a rundown of everything that I watched, kind of my thoughts, and kind of what I thought of the whole weekend and the whole entire shows here. I am going to dive into WrestleMania in a little more detail because I did not get a chance to review that on my channel here. The plan was for me after WrestleMania, after the show, I was planning back to my hotel, do a live stream, and then, upload it and go to bed. The problem was that when I got back, we were so tired. It was about 2 in the morning until we got back to our hotel, and my fiance was trying to go to bed, and I was so tired, and I said, screw it, I'll do it later. So that's the only thing I'm going to dive and review here in depth. But everything else, I'm just going to kind of skim over here. Before I dive in here, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel here. I'm up here every single Monday night after Raw to review it. Periodically SmackDown. It just depends on my work schedule and what's going on with life on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are really up and down for me. But I'm here. I'm always up for predictions for pay-per-views. I'm up here for reactions at the pay-per-views, and basically everything else in between. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been watching wrestling for 20 years now, and I just recently come up here on my YouTube channel to make this YouTube channel and just talk about wrestling with everybody. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time here. I've been wanting something to do like this for a very long time as well, with podcasts and episodes and all that. And I've been always very fascinated with just listening to people. So I hope, in return, people listen to me, my reviews, my comments, and everything like that. So if you guys haven't yet, please give a like to this video, subscribe. I am trying, quote, trying to get this on Spotify and a couple of different podcast websites here and platforms. I'm not really keen with all that yet, so I don't know if this is going to be up on any other type of platform. This might just be on YouTube for the moment here, but depending how this goes and how I feel about it, I think eventually I would like to get it up like on Stitcher Radio and Spotify and the whole 9 yards. That'd be really cool for me if I could do that, so I can get my name out there, and it seems to be working for a lot of people, so I like to dive into that when I can here. Currently I have 21 subs, which is pretty good. I never thought I'd even make it past 3 subs, to be honest with you. So I'm very grateful for all my subs here, and for everyone who follows me on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, if you guys haven't yet, please follow me on Twitter here. I'm very active on that. I have a Patreon if you feel generous with that, and a PayPal as well here, just to help me fund this channel and my music channel as well here, which recently has been taken off on that. So I appreciate all of you who jumped to my music channel over to my wrestling channel. Listen to me. I really greatly appreciate that here. But moving on here, I like to do this weekly. I am going to call it KargKast. So this is episode 1 of KargKast here. So where do we begin here? I guess we can really begin here basically at NXT TakeOver for the weekend here. Before I dive into everything, though, I just want to give you kind of a schedule update from my channel. After this podcast, I am wrestled out. I can't do more wrestling with you guys for a little bit. I'm just pretty wrestled out for this. So this weekend, I'm going to take a kind of weekend off here. I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of time with this weekend, so I'm pretty mentally burnt out with wrestling at the moment. But I will come up here on Raw on Monday to review it. Hopefully SmackDown as well, and I will be up here next week for sure. After that, I don't really have much going on until something else pops up, any breaking news, anything like that. But I am very active here on my YouTube and Twitter. So if you guys stick around and enjoy the ride here. So I guess let's dive into the very beginning here, right? Friday night was NXT TakeOver, and like I said, I'm not going to review every single thing on every single show, just what I saw. We were traveling Friday night, so I did not see the whole entire NXT TakeOver. Honestly, the only thing I saw was the main event with Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. And what I did see was absolutely phenomenal match. It was insane, man. We were at my mother-in-law's watching this on my phone, and I was trying not to geek out in front of my whole entire family. But what I did see though was just insane. How many kickouts and just the quality of the match. Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are just two of the most underrated wrestlers in the whole entire world here. But Johnny Gargano did pick up the title finally after all this time here. It should have been Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, but unfortunately we all know what happened to Tommaso with his neck injury and all that. But it ended up being a great match and ended up being a great time watching it. The match didn't go on. I think it went on for, I don't know, like 40 minutes maybe not that long. I can't remember, but I remember just watching and glued to my phone. And I really enjoyed this match, and this is what's next to come in wrestling on the main roster. I am 110% with that, and I'm sure everybody else could agree with me on that. But we all know how WWE gets when people go to the main roster. Either people get buried or they twist things around. I mean, there's multiple people making examples of. Look at EC3. What's he doing right now? Look at Nikki Cross. What is she doing right now? The Revival. I mean, they've been kind of up and down, but they're not being used at all. So that's my worry about after this. If they go to the main roster, talking about Adam Cole here and Johnny Gargano, when they go to the main roster, those are two big names. So I feel like they'd be pushed, kind of like a Finn Balor and all that, and like a Drew McIntyre. But, I just don't know if it'd be the same as it would be in NXT. It never seems to be, but, my fingers are crossed for both of them. But this match was almost a 5-star quality match. I shit my pants a couple times during the match. And I'm really happy for Johnny Gargano to finally win the NXT title. So congratulations to him, and I guess we'll kind of see what happens next after NXT. Is Adam Cole staying in NXT? You would think he would. He's only been there for about a year. Johnny Gargano just obviously got the title, so he might hold that for a while here. Could be till SummerSlam, could be after next WrestleMania. Who the hell knows? But regardless, whenever these guys come to the main roster together, I will be happy, and it will be a fun time for that to happen here. So congratulations to Johnny Gargano, and I hope a long title reign for you, buddy. We're going to dive into the Hall of Fame here, which was a Saturday night, and in years past, I thought, wasn't the Hall of Fame Friday and NXT Saturday? Well, I didn't put the two together. That G1 program that Ring of Honor was doing over at Madison Square Garden was the same night. So I guess WWE didn't want to compete, with NXT and the G1 program at Madison Square Garden, which made sense to me, because it kind of threw me off, to be honest with you. But on Saturday night, we had the Hall of Fame here, and we had a pretty good class. A lot of people say it was weaker. I would agree with that to an extent. I don't say it was weaker. I mean, these are all classic names in professional wrestling. I mean, a lot of people know who Tori Wilson is. A lot of people definitely know who the Honky Tonk Man is, and of course, everybody knows who D-Generation X is. So it wasn't that terribly weak. I don't think it just wasn't the strongest, like everyone else is saying here. And like I said, I didn't see all of them talk. I didn't have to see a lot of their speeches here. Reason being was because I was coming back from New York City, from WrestleCon and all that, which I'll get to in a second here. I only saw, I think I saw Harlem Heat, D-Generation X, part of Tori Wilson because I was looking at my phone, part of Brutus Beefcake, and definitely the Hart Foundation here. But I will talk about what I did see. The one I did see was Harlem Heat, and which was awesome here because you had Stevie Ray talking about basically his career and how he got there and how Booker T wanted to be like his big brother and all that, which is really, really cool. I really enjoyed their speech here, and Booker T is now a 2-time Hall of Famer, which is awesome. And what the funny thing was that I completely forgot that Booker T was even going in the Hall of Fame again twice, because I saw him at WrestleCon like 6 hours prior to that, and usually WWE doesn't like you doing that. Tori Wilson was supposed to be at WrestleCon, and if you look at the list, it says canceled. There's a whole bunch of people like that. Shane Helms, Hurricane, he got canceled by WWE. There were multiple people who got canceled by WWE. Abyss was canceled by WWE because he got signed with them, just like Shane Helms here. But with Booker T, he was still at WrestleCon and the Hall of Fame, which I thought that was kind of odd. Who knows? I mean, like I said before, welcome to WWE. But I thought their speech was actually one of my favorite speeches the whole night, to be quite honest with you. I'm really glad these two got in here. Of course, this is way before my time of watching it, but I've definitely seen their matches. I've definitely seen stories of them and matches of them. So I'm really glad they got in, and congratulations to both of them. Moving on here, I did only saw a part of Tori Wilson's here. Her speech was pretty emotional. I found out actually like 15 minutes prior to her speech that her dad passed away, and I thought it was the same day, like on Saturday, but I found out that it was actually days prior. So she had to go basically watch her dad die, and then bury him, I think, and then do the Hall of Fame speech. And the fact that she did all this and did it, well, miraculously, bravo to her. I love Tori Wilson, and she is so awesome. And I believe she deserves to go to Hall of Fame. A lot of people don't think that she deserves it. I think she does. Let me tell you why. She was basically the sex symbol for a long time for WWE. So was Sunny. She's in the Hall of Fame. People will probably disagree with that, but a lot of people would probably agree with that too. I think Tori Wilson is just as good, and I think even better than Sunny. I know Tori wasn't a wrestler. I know she didn't win, all these title reigns and all that, but she made an impact on professional wrestling. Sometimes you don't have to be a professional wrestler to make an impact on wrestling. Look at managers, How many managers do we have that are so great that probably deserve to be in the Hall of Fame that aren't? So, I think Tori Wilson deserves to get in. I believe she can, I believe she deserves to get in. I have no problem with her getting in. Her speech was hilarious, I thought, in some points, with about a lot of people's puberty. That was pretty funny. But to be honest with you, I have no problem with Tori Wilson going in. I'm so glad she's in. Congratulations, Tori. And, I'd like to see her more in WWE, something. I know she does a lot of, on her Instagram, she does like a lot of yoga, fitness stuff, which is awesome, but I'd like to see her more in WWE. I know she's kind of retired from it, but, maybe like a manager role, something. I don't know. I just feel like she would do something in WWE. I think actually might spike ratings, believe it or not. I could be completely wrong. A lot of people disagree with me. Her time is, spent and gone. But I think she could do something in WWE now. I don't know what, but I think you could do something with her. And I think maybe slow key, she might want to come back. So congratulations, Tori, and you deserve it. I didn't really see Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I only saw the last of his speech here, and it was okay. It was okay speech. The Honky Tonk Man, I kind of laughed at because, all the controversy and all the shit he said with WWE in years past. But congratulations to both of those guys. I'm not going to dive in their speeches because I really didn't see much of it. But they definitely are two names that definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame here. And then moving on here was the Hart Foundation with Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. Natty Hart was basically representing Jim Neidhart. And Bret's speech was pretty awesome. It's really cool how they, honor Jim Neidhart in the video package and all that. But we all know what the hell happened in this speech, and it basically ruined the Hart Foundation's induction ceremony. That piece of shit guy, I don't know what the hell his name is. I'm not going to give him any credit. I'm not going to say his name if I find it. But that piece of shit came into the ring and attacked Bret Hart. Attacked him right in the middle of the ring. Took him down. I didn't watch that live. I was watching things back and forth. I basically was just seeing when I can here on my phone what was going on the Hall of Fame. Just kind of taking a look at it until I got back to my in-laws here. But I didn't see this, but the only reason that I knew about it was my buddy texted me saying, are you watching the Hall of Fame right now? And I said, no. And he's like, you need to turn on right now. And lo and behold, I see Bret Hart's hair mess. I'm like, okay, well, his hair's a mess. What's the difference? And he said he just got attacked by a fan. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously? And, this numbnut, apparently, I don't know how the hell security did not catch him. But apparently ran right in the ring and basically just took down Bret Hart. Bret Hart, who is probably damn near, 60, 65 now, probably has to be up there. He's a stroke survivor. a cancer survivor, the whole 9 yards. He survived everything. This guy's a legend, being a human being, all the things he's accomplished, and professional wrestler. I can't believe someone would actually go in and just hack him, just make a name. Whether this guy was trying to really hurt him or make a scene, we'll never know. But thankfully, Brett's okay. Thankfully, this guy didn't have like a knife or anything on him. But even then, I don't know how he got in the building with a knife on him. But I just can't believe some guy, would go and just ruin a Hall of Fame speech. This is legit a professional wrestling Hall of Fame. I know people have a lot of, things to say about wrestling, but it's fake and all that, and all the bullshit we get as a wrestling fan. But this is still a Hall of Fame speech. You just ruined his speech, and he'll never get that back. Thankfully, it wasn't his single speech, when him inducted, if it was the Hart Foundation. But still, it's a damn shame, That's always going to have an asterisk now towards it. People remember that for years and years to come. But the guy got arrested, and a whole bunch of wrestlers did dive into the ring and help out Brett and to get this guy off of him and help Brett and Natty. And then Dash from the Revival just uppercuts his fucker right in the face here. And if you guys see his mugshot, it's just brutal. So I'm really happy this guy got fucked up, and I'm really glad that this guy is getting charged. I don't wish bad upon a lot of people here, but as me as a wrestling fan and as me loving Bret Hart for everything he's done, this guy could rot in hell for all I care. I literally hope this guy rots in prison. He won't be in prison forever, of course, but I just hope this guy lives a miserable life. Piece of shit. I just don't know how you do that. I don't know why people think that's okay to come into, a ceremony or anything like this and just think that's okay and make a name out of it and be ha-ha. No one thought that was cute. No one thought that was funny. I don't know what the hell this guy's intention was, but he's a fucking idiot. Last but not least, we had D-Generation X's speech, and this was a pretty good speech, too. It's actually one of my favorites, too, up with Harlem Heat. Of course, we had all 5 members of D-Generation X, unfortunately missing China, and they mentioned a lot of China in this, too, from X-Pac and from Triple H, and from, I think actually from everybody. I think everybody mentioned China here, of course. But I thought it was a really good speech here, and the funny part was that they mentioned Vince's name a lot, and there's a lot of rumors going around, in years past, that you don't say Vince's name in your speeches at all, just don't, which is kind of okay. I get why Vince doesn't want to do that. It's not about him, but I get it. But, you're going to fire Triple H. You're going to fire everybody. You're going to let go Shawn Michaels and all that. Billy Gunn's, signed with the fucking, with the company. So you're going to get him in trouble, So all these guys could say Vince, 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 and nothing's going to happen. I'm sure Vince was fuming in the back, which I'll get to in a minute here. I read an article about some guy getting fired over this, but I'll get to that in a second here. But I thought their speech was awesome. And, now Shawn Michaels is a 2-time Hall of Famer here. Triple H is now he will be a 2-time Hall of Famer, but now this is his first induction to the Hall of Fame. Is this X-Pac? Is he a 2-timer now? Yeah, I think he is. He might be a 2-timer. I don't know if he's inducted as X-Pac or 1, 2, 3 kid. He might not be. I can be completely wrong. But I think one day X-Pac, his name could be in it for sure. And then, of course, this is hopefully one day China will be inducted in the Hall of Fame. So this could be part 1 or part 2 of her induction here. And I was really happy they mentioned a lot of China and a lot of China chants from the crowd and all that. And what was really cool about X-Pac's speech was that he said, "I think one day we should have a China, women's battle royal at WrestleMania." And I hope that does happen. We've said that for years. A lot of people said it. My fiance actually said it last week when we were watching Raw and mentioned about the D-Generation X in China and all that. So I think that should happen. I'm not really sure why the fuck it hasn't happened. I do know why, backstage politics and all that, but it should be. You have Andre the Giant Battle Royal, who's the 8th one of the world. Why don't have the 9th one of the world with the women's? I don't understand that. Hopefully next year we'll get an announcement saying that we'll name it the China Battle Royal. Maybe they won't. Maybe they don't because the names are kind of tarnished. Okay, Tribe Fabulous Moolah. I don't want to say the name. I meant the Rumble. The Rumble's kind of tarnished already because we had the Fabulous Moolah, but we all know what piece of shit she kind of was, and how people retaliated and sponsors about ready to pull out. So I think China would be a good name. I know she had her problems here, and she was begging for help the last part of her life, and WWE didn't want to help her, which is a damn shame. So I think you should name the Women's Battle Royal after China. at WrestleMania. I would agree 100% with X-Pac here. But one of the funnier part was that Triple H called. Basically, he went to Billy Gunn and said, "I will buy that pissant company," referring to AEW, because basically, Billy Gunn is not part of WWE anymore. He's actually part of AEW now. Basically, Triple H is like, "Don't make me regret this." Of course, it was all scripted for that part, probably. But, they mentioned it once, and then Shawn Michaels mentioned All In his speech. So basically, it's WWE nodding towards the fact that they know there's competition, that they know that they're out there, and so it's funny. It's really funny because now we're kind of getting a little feud now. Because honestly, that was shots fired, but it was kind of shots fired, kind of. So we'll have to see if this, just goes back and forth between all of it. Probably not, but it'd be kind of cool to see shots fired between both companies here. But their speech was really, really long, but it was really good. It was really funny, and they had squirt guns at the end and all that, and just squirt Baron Corbin. It was all fun and dandy and all. And of course, they deserve to go in the Hall of Fame. And one thing I will mention though was when I was trying to make this video and get all the pictures here and all that, I found an article that apparently, because of, I don't know if it was this speech or another speech in the Hall of Fame or something, but basically a guy named Robert Evans, apparently he was a writer backstage, got fired during the Hall of Fame because they kept mentioning Vince's name. I don't know if it was because of the Degeneration Nexus speech. Someone else mentioned Vince's name. I want to tell you, I think it was like the Honky Tonk Man or somebody. I don't know. Somebody mentions Vince's name here a couple times. And I don't know if this guy wrote the speeches for them or let it go or something like that, but he's the one who got fired for it during the fucking show. During the show. Like, apparently they're in Gorilla, and Vince just says, you're done, you're fired, get out. And then what's funny was that this guy basically posted on his Instagram or his Twitter or something, and basically from the notepad from my phone saying, "I quit WWE." And that was basically it. So this guy got fired for something with this as a Hall of Fame, which is a little bit ridiculous, I'll be honest with you. I think that's a little bit absurd. He got fired in the Hall of Fame because Vince's name was mentioned. I mean, if that's the rule, fine, but I thought it was a little bit ridiculous. So hopefully this guy, ends up in AEW and makes the show a little better. Or makes their show better, I should say. But I just thought it was stupid this guy got fired for it. So, anyways, all in all with the Hall of Fame here, it was a pretty good class. Again, it wasn't the strongest, but it was still a pretty good class here. But interesting what happens next year. We always have rumors of Undertaker. We always have rumors of, a lot of people every year, Owen Hart, the whole 9 yards here. So we'll have to see who conducted next year into the 2020 class of Hall of Fame here. So overall, the Hall of Fame was really good. I really enjoyed it. Fuck that guy who attacked Bret Hart. And, it was a good show. I'm really glad all these guys got inducted, and I think they all deserve it. So congratulations to everyone who got inducted in this class this year. Since we're on the topic about Saturday, I just want to mention that I did go to WrestleCon in downtown New York City. Basically, it was in Times Square at the Midtown Hilton Hotel. I didn't know what to expect. It was my first time going, so I really didn't know what I was walking into and what to really expect. But the first 10 minutes I was there, I was like, oh man, this is fucking awesome. They had wrestling matches up on the second, third floor there. You had all these indie wrestlers, and then you go to another hall, and you have those all-time classic wrestlers. It was really, really cool. And then there was a lot of people there that were advertised to be there. Apparently, they were wrong times. Like I said, it's the first year going. There were different times, different wrestlers. So I was kind of looking for Shawn Michaels, but he was already gone. I didn't know that. But I knew Ric Flair was going to be there. And so when I got to basically where his booth was, the line was so long. And I literally been there for 3 hours while I stood in line. So I decided at the moment, I said, fuck it, I don't want to do it. So then next to his booth was Trish and Lita. And I saw both of them. I met Trish. I wanted to meet Lita. But the combo they were asking for, I didn't want to pay that much for a picture of both of them. And actually, by the time I got to Trish, Lita went on break. So I didn't want to, spend a lot of money. I spent a lot of money already, so I don't want to spend much more money. But I did meet Trish, and she was a sweetheart. I loved her. I told her she's one of my favorite female wrestlers of all time, which is true. She took about 2 minutes to talk to me, and I just basically gave her praise about, her accomplishments in wrestling, and told everyone watching her since I was 5, and she's like, well, thanks for making me feel old. I was like, sorry, but she was a sweetheart. She was so nice to me. Had no problem taking a picture with me, And, she was just so nice. She was actually a lot nicer than I thought. She plays a really good bitch on TV, but, man, in person, she's such a sweetheart. So I'm really glad I got to meet her, and hopefully get to meet Lita one day, because she's probably my second favorite wrestler of all time in the women's division. But I did walk around. I did see I didn't meet them, but I did see RVD. I saw, like, Terry Reynolds, and I saw a whole bunch of, other wrestlers that have been there in the last 10, 15 years. The funny one I actually ran into was the Boogeyman. Of all people, the fucking Boogeyman. I was walking around, and I made eye contact with Boogeyman. He made contact with me, and he's like, how's it going, man? I'm like, good, Boogeyman, how you doing? He goes, oh, man, I'm doing great. And I talked to him for about a minute afterwards, and, just basically at WWE and stuff like that, and all full makeup and attire and everything. It was hilarious. I didn't get pictures of him. I should have, but I wasn't kind of in a hurry. I didn't have a lot of time, so I should have, but that was hilarious, talking to him in full makeup and everything. I'm trying to think top of my head who else I saw there. I saw Vicky Guerrero. I saw MVP, Buck Bagwell, Booker T and Kevin Nash, Mick Foley's daughter, randomly. That was kind of weird. Allie from AEW, Kelly, Candice Michelle. I can't remember top of my head. There was a lot more there. Were there. Melina was there too. A couple of people from AEW were there, and a couple of people from actually Ring of Honor were there as well. But anyways, back to what I was saying about Ric Flair with his line. I was like, you know what? I don't want to wait. And then I walked back around, I was about to leave, and the line started going down a little bit. But I thought, you know what? I may never get this chance again to meet Ric Flair. He may be dead the next time I want to go meet him, knock on wood. But I don't know if I'll get this chance again. So I said, fuck it. So I jumped in line. I waited for about probably 40 minutes, which honestly wasn't that terribly long. I had no problem waiting there, watching everybody else, watching all these other wrestlers walk by and all that. What was funny, I was waiting there, I was talking to a guy I met, and the fucking Blue Meanie walks by. It was actually really kind of cool. But as we got closer and closer, they were like hurrying up to go faster and faster. I'm like, holy shit, I'm not even ready for my money or my phone or anything like that. And so when I got to Rick, apparently he was in a hurry to get out of there. He was starting to get a little cranky, I guess. I get it, you're there for 3 hours and people just want to talk and take pictures with you for 3 hours, and I get that. And they finally got to me, and I told Rick, I was like, thanks for everything you've done, man, I really appreciate it. And he just basically said thank you, and we took a picture, and that was it. And the picture you see on there was literally about 5 seconds, 10 seconds talking to him, and that was it. So I only had 15 seconds to basically talk to Ric Flair, because he was kind of in a hurry to get out. And what was funny was that right before I got to the part where I pay and all that, he was kind of arguing with his new wife that he just married, kinda. Just bickering. Who doesn't bicker with their wife once in a while? But he was nice to me. He was just really cranky, and I heard later that actually a lot of people were kind of pissed off because they paid to go see him, but they missed their chance. Like they get time. So, and I heard they did not get refunded for it. So I feel bad for those fans there. But he was in a hurry. I was actually one of the last people to get a picture with him, to my knowledge. Like, as soon as I walked back around, 2 minutes later, he was gone. So, Ric Flair was really cool to meet. Trish was awesome to meet. And, WrestleCon was a hell of a time. I can't wait to go back, if I ever do go back. I don't know if I go to WrestleMania weekend next year. I'm getting married next year, so it's going to be kind of hard for me to swing everything. But it was a fun time. I recommend anybody who going there. If you're a newer wrestling fan, like if you've only been, a wrestling fan for the last 3-4 years, you may not enjoy this as much as, an old-time wrestling fan like me who's been watching for a long time, so you recognize all the wrestlers, If you're a wrestling fan of other promotions, now you might notice a lot more people, but it was a fun time, and I hope I get to go back one day, and now I know what to expect. Before I dive into WrestleMania, I kind of have breaking news here. If you live in a little town like me, you know that we have fire departments where the whistle will go off through town, and it'll alert all the local fire departments and the local volunteers and all that. Well, mine just went off about a minute ago, and naturally I look at my scanner to see what the hell's going on, and the house behind me is on fire right now. I kind of took me a surprise, so I had to go double check everything. Smelled a lot of smoke, saw a lot of smoke. So the house behind me is, I think it's out now. but it kind of gave me a startle for a second here, so I had to go double check all that. But hey, probably just want to put it in there just in case you guys, my house gets on fire or something. I don't know. But just thought it was kind of weird coincident timing here. So there's that, I guess. How to start your Thursday morning. But back to wrestling here. I will dive into WrestleMania 35 a little more in depth in this show than I would with anything else I've covered so far and will cover. And like I said before, and I've said this probably religiously a million times here, I was at WrestleMania 35. And my overall experience was awesome. I had so much fun. I've been looking forward to this day for 20 years, to be honest with you. I've wanted to go to WrestleMania for a long, long time. I was so close to going to WrestleMania 33 a couple years ago, and I regret not going to that. WrestleMania 34, I couldn't swing, but this year was in New York, and it's not too far from me, and I said, fuck it, let's go. And I'm so glad I did. It was a really good show. It definitely was not the best WrestleMania we ever saw, but that's okay. I still had a great time. It was a lot of great matches, and we're going to dive into each match here and everything that you guys saw on TV and everything that I saw in person too here. But overall, it was a really good show. I had a lot of fun. If you guys are interested, you can go check out my Instagram, where I kind of covered the whole entire weekend and the show as well. I also took a video. I kind of made a vlog video on my YouTube as well from my Instagram and uploaded. I'll put the link in the card here for you if you're interested in looking at my vlog for the weekend here. But overall, it was a really fun weekend. I'm so glad I went. It was a very good show, and started diving into matches here. So I walked into the show probably at, I think, like 5:30 probably, and there's our match going on. It was the Cruiserweights, which I obviously wasn't looking forward to that as much as everything else. I'm just not a Cruiserweight guy, if you will. But Tony Nese defeated Buddy Murphy, and I predicted that match to be correct. I knew Tony Nese would win. I think Buddy Murphy's held on the championship for a long time. I think you need to do something with Buddy Murphy here as well. The match was pretty good, pretty decent, but Tony Nese finally won this damn belt, and Buddy Murphy, I'm not sure what he's going to do now. He might have the maiden card. He might be having a rematch. Who the hell knows here? But Tony Nese was the winner here, and at the time, there wasn't a lot of people in the stadium, so a lot of people didn't see it. But I mean, honestly, there wasn't really much to see. But it was an okay match, and Tony Nese is your new Cruiserweight champion. Next, we had the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, which should be called, the China Memorial Battle Royal. But basically, it was all the women jobbers, or the ones that, were left out in matches here, which is about damn near everybody. Besides the women's tag team and the women's main event, there were no other single one-on-one matches. I would think you'd have at least one more, make it fair. The rest of it was all male. There was hardly any females on the show, hardly, besides the main event, really. But it was all the 17 women. Sarah Logan kicked ass for most of it. It was funny because people were rooting for Dana Brooke for most of this, which I guess I kind of low-key was too, because, Dana Brooke's been there for company for so long, and I never hated Dana Brooke. I just not interested in her, but I don't hate her, really. But she got eliminated, and then I predicted Asuka to win. I was wrong. Carmella won by eliminating Sarah Logan. Sarah Logan eliminated, I believe, I can't remember how she eliminated. I think it was like Naomi or something like that. And Sarah Logan thought she won, and then Carmella comes out of nowhere and eliminates Sarah Logan. And Carmella is your Battle Royal winner, which is weird because I would never have predicted that. I should have. You knew it would been kind of like a main name here in the card here. One name that everybody knows. Carmella is definitely a name that a lot of people will know in the wrestling world. So I was wrong. When the only thing that she did tweet out was that she was the first one eliminated last year in the Rumble, and now that she's the winner this year. But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything, unfortunately. Like, the Andre Memorial Battle Royal kind of means something. Not much anymore, but it does. It has a name to it. So I think, Carmella won this Rumble match. I don't think it really does anything for her career. Okay, cool. You won a Royal Rumble match at WrestleMania 35. Okay, cool. But it wasn't anything like, you won the China Memorial or, something like that. I just didn't think it was that, monumental in a career. It's pretty cool, but I don't think it's anything that people are going to look back on and think that she won, one of her accolades. But she won the match nevertheless, and it was okay. It was, not my favorite thing to see. I'm never a huge fan of Battle Royals, especially when they don't mean anything. I know the big part of WrestleMania, but I'm just not a huge fan of Battle Royals here. But I guess congratulations to Carmella here, and the fans were kind of behind it, actually. But whatever, man. Congratulations, Carmella, I guess. Next, we had Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder versus the Revival, Dash and Scott Dawson, which is funny because when Dash got tagged in, the fans like popped crazy for him, probably because he knocked that fucking guy out in the Hall of Fame the night before. And I, of course, get a little animated and a little, wound up, and I stood up and gave him a standing ovation for about a minute straight. But it was an okay match. I mean, I again, like I said in previous times here, in my other podcasts or the reviews here, I'm not a huge tag team guy. I know tag team is a huge part of professional wrestling. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Just me personally. I can live with it. I don't hate them. I'm just not a big fan. But I was looking forward to this one because this match was made kind of last minute from what my understanding was. I believed I did put my review. I think I did. But I just didn't think... I didn't think that Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder were going to lose. I knew they were going to win, and they won. Kurt Hawkins finally ends his 200-day losing streak or 265-match day losing streak. I don't know what the hell it was. He basically had a long losing streak, and he finally won. So Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. And Revival, I guess, kind of get the golden shovel after Raw, too. I'll get into that in a minute here. But... the Revival, I believe, are heading out the door. There's just no way now they're not heading out the door. But Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder are new Raw Tag Team Champions, and I'm okay with that. So congratulations, finally, Kurt Hawkins winning a match, and kind of reliving the past here with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder becoming Tag Team Champions. Before I die. And the crowd did pop for that, too. It was pretty cool, but we all knew it was coming, so it was a fun time for that match. Kind of a feel-good moment for both of them. So congratulations to both. But next we had, Jesus fucking Christ, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Basically, I don't know who the hell was in it. There was a bunch of people in it. But basically, it was Braun Strowman basically calling Jost, and I don't know what the fuck the other guy's name is. I really don't give a shit what the hell their name are. But this is a fucking joke, man. I said this for weeks and weeks and weeks, that this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, especially this year, is garbage. Fucking garbage, dude. I don't have any enjoyment watching this Battle Royal. WrestleMania 31 and 30, I had enjoyment for, but after that, I don't really give a fuck anymore. I don't care about it. You're going to associate Andre the Giant's name and then put celebrities in it? Are you fucking kidding me, WWE? You're disgracing Andre's name with this, basically. You're basically treated like a fucking joke. Like a joke. I think it's stupid how you do this. No one wanted to see this. The crowd, when I was there, fucking booed these guys. Almost out of the fucking arena. And if that was their point, I probably, but I mean, it wasn't like a boo where, you're playing around boo. It was a boo like, we don't fucking want these guys here boo, and I booed with them. I didn't want them fucking here. But basically the match ended with Braun Strowman hitting the one guy in the face with a kind of a botched punch to the face, and then he threw Colin Jost out of the ring and landed a whole bunch of guys, and that was it. And supposedly, what was funny was that a couple hours later, you go backstage, and these guys are wrapped up in bandages and ice. You guys didn't even fucking do anything. You guys didn't even probably get hit. I mean, the one guy got punched in the face, but Colin Jost got laying on a whole bunch of bodies. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, holy shit. It wasn't that fucking bad. It wasn't that devastating. I get it. TV, blah, whatever, but it's almost cringeworthy as a wrestling fan watching this. But long story short, Braun Strowman wins Battle Royal, which he deserves to win this Battle Royal. If I want to associate Andre the Giant's name with likes of Braun Strowman and Big Show, you need to do that, while they're in the prime here. But the way that they did this, man, I am not a fan of it. I am not a fan of when WWE does this. I have no problem bringing celebrities in, but when they're in the match and, basically somehow alter the ending of it, that I'm not okay with. I just thought this whole thing was garbage, and I hope WWE stops doing this shit during the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? But I don't want to say this ever again. But congratulations, Braun Strowman, for winning that. You knew he was going to one day, and I just hope that these guys from SNL are no longer part of this whole WWE shit. I'm done with it. I'm over it. Then we finally get to the main card, and first opening the show was Alexa Bliss coming out and talking about, I have the whole show in palm of my hand. I can make a WrestleMania moment just like that, stumps your fingers. And then Hulk Hogan comes out, and the crowd popped hard for that, and so did I. I've been to a million wrestling shows, and I've been to a lot of house shows and Raws, but I've never seen Hulk Hogan in person. And I'm not so much a person where I want to see him wrestle. I just want to say I saw him in person. I was there when they were there, type thing. So that crossed off my bucket list. I never thought I'd get that ever again. I should have expected that because he was at the Hall of Fame, and he's been kind of popping his head here and there in WWE. Since he got re-signed and came back. But I should have expected that. But it was still kind of cool. It was kind of a cool moment for, I think, Alexa Bliss as a person. I think that's something she'll never forget the rest of her life. I mean, shit, I would do that. I'd probably, pass me the lube if I did the Hulk Hogan. I mean, standing beside Hulk Hogan and opening WrestleMania, fuck yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. But it was a cool little thing. Wasn't much happening there. But in person, it was cool to see that, cool to witness that. And like I said before, it's a little different when you're sitting at home. You still mark out when you're at home, but when you're in person, it's a lot different. But it was a cool segment, and that was basically it. Alexa Bliss didn't do much this whole show. Like, a couple things, but, like, that was it. She was the host, okay, but she didn't do that much, which I thought was kind of odd. But nevertheless, it was kind of a cool little moment here. But after the whole thing kind of happened, oh, yeah, I want to mention, fucking Hulk Hogan makes a nod when he said the Silverdome, WrestleMania 30. Well, fuck, dude, that guy messed up the name again. He said MetLife Center. It's like, Hulk Hogan, are you drunk when you say this shit? Like, does anyone, like, take Hulk Hogan back and say, okay, Hogan, you're at MetLife Stadium. And then, be like, Giant Stadium, got it. It's like, what the fuck? Is this guy, like, for real? I don't get it. I don't know if it was a rib or not towards him. Just made me chuckle a little bit. But anyways, after this whole thing, Paul Heyman comes out and walks down the ramp to, get in the middle of the ring here, and basically says, if Brock Lesnar's the main event at WrestleMania, then we want the match right now. He has a jet to catch to Las Vegas, which we all knew that was kind of a nod towards UFC, because apparently he's going back to UFC. I mean, for real this time, apparently he has a fight scheduled in like July or August or something like that. So I guess, Brock's taking a sabbatical in WWE, or it could be done. I doubt it, but and I listen to a couple other people podcasts, and I didn't even think about this, but does Paul Heyman have the right just to alter the matches at WrestleMania? And it's like, holy shit, that doesn't make any sense. So basically, Brock comes out, and so does Seth, and Seth had a pretty cool entrance, and it was a pretty good match. Besides Brock beating the shit out of the first 2 minutes, and then get back in the ring, and then Seth lows blows him without the ref looking, and then gives him 3 curb stomps, and then the pin 1, 2, 3. And Seth is your new Universal title or Universal Champion. Thank Christ. We finally have that back on a show. And think about this. That Universal title has not been on a show really, in 2 years. We had Finn Balor win it, had to relinquish it the next night, and then Kevin Owens won it. He had it about 5 months. And then we had Goldberg won it. He had her about a month. And then Lesnar. And then I believe Lesnar lost it. I don't think he lost it. I think he lost it to Roman Reigns. And then it went back to Lesnar. And now it's on Seth Rollins. I think that's all the winners we ever had, right? Am I missing one in between there? I don't think I am. But now we have it back on Raw, like finally, because Brock Lesnar held that damn thing for the majority of its life. We haven't had it on Raw, so finally we can get some interest back in the Raw and have a title on the show. I think that's what the show is missing, was the title. We're also bored of Raw. It's like the same shit over and over and over again. Well, because you have the same shit over and over again. You need something new, and finally have the title back. So hopefully that brings some spark, into the show, bring some life back in the show, Raw. But I'll get to that later on. But it was a pretty good match. And technically, Seth Rollins beat Brock Lesnar within like 2.5 minutes. Technically. So, it was a good match. Seth gets up top of the ramp, does a swing into the belt, typical Seth Rollins. And, excuse me. And, it was a feel-good moment for Seth. He finally fucking did it. And, props to him. So it was a pretty good match. It was a good way to start off WrestleMania. Now let's get into the AJ Styles and Randy Orton match. I was predicting this match to be like almost a show stealer match. I mean, you got 2, veterans of professional wrestling and go out and put a hell of a match on. And it was a good match. It wasn't anything, astronomical. AJ Styles did win. I did get that prediction wrong. I picked Randy Orton to win, actually, in a crazy RKO counter or anything, something like that. But AJ Styles did win, and it was a pretty good match. Wasn't anything phenomenal, no pun intended. But the one thing that did happen was apparently this light was blinding like the whole back section of the audience. Not me. Thankfully, I was in section like 305 or something like that. So, like, if you're looking at the hard cam, looking at the ring, you look up, up, up. I'm literally dead straight on from the ring. Like, I'm under the T of MetLife Stadium, basically, of like the first row, 300 section, second row, I guess I should say. But I found that light was blinding it, and I remember during the match, people over in that section were chanting. I'm like, what the hell is the problem with that section? Like, is something going on over there? Is someone coming out? I couldn't tell whether they're chanting, but I remember a whole bunch of them were just like chanting a whole bunch of shit. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, what's going on? And then I find out a couple hours later it was because of that light. And I guess Randy Orton went on Twitter and apologized, you know. And I guess AJ Styles did, I guess, a couple days later, too. They both apologized for it. But that's something WWE, you know, you just think that was something that they could avoid. You know, there's such, they could, not have, as big a company they are, as many professionals they have, you think they would, not have that, I guess, So I guess that light never came back on. It was just for that match. But apparently that section missed that basically the whole entire match. But if you guys are listening to this and you're in that section, I promise you didn't miss that much. It was a good match, but wasn't that great of a match. But AJ Styles won this match, and it was an okay match. It was kind of underwhelming, but it was still an okay match. Next, we had the Usos versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, and then The Bar. To be honest, I took a pee break during this. I didn't watch most of it. I did see Aleister Black's. Okay. We'll try that again here. I did see Aleister Black's entrance. I kind of took off because to be honest, I really didn't care for the match too much here. But I did predict Aleister Black and Ricochet to win the match. But actually, the Usos retain and continue on with the reign here, which I was a little surprised about that. But I only saw the ending of the match, and it was a pretty good ending with the Usos doing their, I guess, double dive bomb, if you will. I can't remember who the hell was on, but there's Aleister Black and Ricochet. Okay. The Bar is okay. I'll get into that what happened with the next night with them on Raw. But Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev, man, I don't know what the fuck you do with them anymore. I think they both need to get the hell out of there and go AEW, especially Shinsuke. I just feel like this wasn't a barrow towards them, but now they're kind of lost in the shuffle. Now what you do with them? What do you do with them now? Two big names. Shinsuke Nakamura was basically one of the headliners last year at WrestleMania 34, and he was hardly put his name. His name was hardly associated with WrestleMania 35, really. So I feel bad for him. And Rusev Day was hot last year, and now it's dead. So I don't know what to do with them anymore, man. I don't know. I feel bad for them. But nevertheless, the Usos win and retain their SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Next, we had Shane McMahon versus The Miz in a Fall Scott Anywhere match. And it was actually a pretty good match. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was pretty good. You knew Shane McMahon was going to do something insane somewhere. But the first minute of the match, basically, Shane puts Miz on the announce table, and Shane was going to go up the turnbuckle and jump off of it, do his, iconic jump from the turnbuckle to the table. But then out of nowhere, the Miz's dad comes out of nowhere and just basically stops him. And then the Miz's dad gets in the ring, and you see that iconic, and no pun intended, iconic, so that iconic picture of him with his fist up in the air, wanting to fight Shane McMahon, and Shane McMahon comes up and adjusts his fist and all that. It was hilarious. That became a meme instantly. I mean, a couple hours later, I was on my phone during one of the matches, and I seen that meme all over the place. And then after Monday night, when The Undertaker came out, it was The Undertaker versus the Mr. Mizanin for WrestleMania 36. It's fucking hilarious. But that match, or not to say that match, but he became a meme, basically. And that meme is just Thursday, 4 days later, is still going around. So I feel like that's going to be around for a while. So, but during that, basically, later on, the Miz and Shane McMahon go in the audience, get a shuffle, chair shots, the whole 9 yards. Wasn't that much wrestling technique involved. But then they go on to basically what looks like a hard cam area. I'm not sure exactly what the hell it was, but clearly it was there for them. And then you got up top there, and you knew there was a spot where Shane McMahon was kind of on the edge there, and you knew he was going to dive off that fucking thing. But then the Miz puts them in a superplex and suplex them off of it, and they fall 15 to 20 feet onto what clearly was a padded area, a box area, some sort. and it was awesome to see that live. I actually didn't see much of it. I only saw them falling. So, like, where they were standing, I couldn't see because the screen, or I guess the set of the ring was in the way. But I did see them fall, like, the bottom of the screens where I saw them fall. It was just funny spot there. But then Shane McMahon puts his arm over the Miz, 1, 2, 3, and that was it. Which is a little surprised that I predicted the Miz to win, but Shane got the victory over him, so you knew there's going to be another rematch coming along the way here. But it was a pretty good match, a pretty good spot, and that superplex looked pretty badass, I'm not going to lie. So, you know, the Miz and Shane McMahon, I feel like the feud is not over yet, and we'll have to see what happens on SmackDown in the weeks to come. And the crowd loved it, too, by the way. Let me tell you what, the crowd fucking loved it. Next, we had the Iconics versus the Boston Hug Connection versus Nia Jax and Tamina versus Beth Phoenix and Natalya. This match was not very good. I can't remember a damn thing I had in this match. The only thing I remember is that Billy Kay or somebody went over and pulled off, I think, like Beth Phoenix, something like that, and then got the cover, who the hell they're covering, in 1, 2, 3, and the Iconics are your new women's tag team champions. And which is awesome because I picked that right as well. But it was awesome for them because I kind of followed them ever since they kind of become NXT. You know, they've been together for years and years, and they've come up together and trained together in a whole 9 yards, and they finally made it. So it was kind of a feel-good moment for them. I felt good for them as like person to as a human level, as a person-to-person level, I should say. And I just feel like they may not necessarily deserve the win, but I felt good for them. You know, they obviously made it to their level. I think the next level above it is probably the women's, you know, champion. Eventually, if one of them ever makes it. But I was really happy for them. And afterwards, you know, I guess Sasha's pretty pissed off about it, and so is Bayley. Or I guess more Sasha. Sasha's been kind of complaining on Twitter a lot lately about a lot of shit. I mean, I'll get in that a little bit here. But Nia and Tamina, who the fuck cares? Is Beth Phoenix done? I don't know. But the Iconics win, and it was a pretty damn good moment for them, I should say. Next, we have what I think is the match of the night: Kofi Kingston versus the new Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. And this match was awesome. It had everything you wanted. Emotion. You got, you know, I don't want to say surprises, but you got up and down. You know, is Kofi going to win? Oh, he's not going to win. Is Daniel going to win? He's not going to win. That type feel. But in the end, Kofi got the, you know, I can't remember the finisher. I can't remember. Oh, Trouble in Paradise. He'd hit the Trouble in Paradise and Daniel Bryan and got the pin 1, 2, 3, and that place fucking popped hard. Holy shit. I was there for that pop. I popped too. But even looking back on, like, I watched it on TV on the network, and that place was so fucking loud. We celebrated so hard for Kofi Kingston. We love Kofi. I love Kofi. I've watched him ever since he debuted in WWE, you know, 11, 12 years ago now. You know, he deserves the win, and I think, you know, his title reign should be for a little bit here. I don't want to say a year, at least SummerSlam maybe. Give him a good run with it. I think he at least deserves that. If we drop it back to Daniel Bryan, then fine, but I think you at least give him the summer to run it. You know, the summer of Kofi, if you will. I think that'd be kind of cool. But what was funny is I didn't tweet this, but some guy, like a section over, was celebrating so hard, he pulled out a joint and started smoking it. So it was hilarious. I don't know how they got that in the arena, but it was hilarious. And Kofi Kingston is new WWE champion, and the New Day come and celebrate. Kofi's kids and his wife come in. His Kofi kids are hilarious. Kind of steal the spotlight for a second there, but it was awesome. You know, Kofi Kingston is new WWE champion, everybody. I'm so happy for it, and we all predicted it. And, you know, we were all kind of worried about it because we weren't sure if all 3 main titles were going to switch. And I said, fuck it, they are all going to switch, and they did. And someone said if there was one match that wasn't going to switch, it was going to be Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar or the Kofi Kingston match. So I predicted Kofi to win. I'm so happy he did. And he's the first, from my knowledge, the first African-born WWE champion. So good moment for there in history, good moment for him, and congratulations to Kofi, and I hope your reign is a long, long reign here. Next, we had a squash, which was Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Champion, and it was like a minute, I think. And not even that. Samoa Joe beats Rey Mysterio with his sleeper holder submission, and that was it. The Kimura, I think it's called. And, you know, Rey Mysterio is apparently hurt, so he didn't do much. He had the 619, and that was about it. And then the Kimura lock, and that was it. Samoa Joe's new champion. Not much to say about that. Or I say new champion, but still your champion, rather. Next, we kind of the sleeper, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I didn't really watch much of it. I was kind of on my phone. A lot of people were starting to wave during this match, and I tweeted that out. And somebody on Twitter, some fuck nut, was yelling at me because we were doing the wave in the audience. I'm like, dude, I was like, I'm sorry, man, I forgot. That was in the handbook. The audience can have fun during a match, And I get his point. He was saying that takes away from the hardworking wrestlers. I get that. I wasn't retaliating towards them. I was retaliating kind of towards WWE for getting us kind of like a shitty quality match, So I didn't really care for it. It was Roman wins, of course. But not much to say about that, and I guess the feud's over, and Drew's probably going to SmackDown, so we won't get a rematch, but I don't think anyone's too heartbroken over that. But Roman Reigns is the victory here, or gets the victory here, I should say. Next, we have Triple H and Batista in a no-holds-barred match. And it was a pretty good match for the most part. The first 10 minutes were pretty good with the chain, and basically Triple H gets some sort of pliers and trying to breaks Dave's hand, and then he takes the pliers and basically pulls the nose ring out of Dave Batista. I mean, that was all fucking brutal and all that. It was pretty cool. But then after that, it just kind of died. It didn't really much happen after that. But Triple H gets the victory here. It's a pedigree 1, 2, 3, and one of these people were going to be down to this because storyline is Triple H lost. He would have had to force to retire from in-ring competition, and then we knew this was kind of Batista's last match anyways. And after the match, Batista did tweet out, I think late that night or the next morning, that he is officially retired from sports entertainment, and that was it. He's done. So if he really is done, I want to say thank you, Batista, for everything that he did for us. I was always a Batista fan. And, that's it, I guess. I mean, it was kind of underwhelming for that. What was really funny about this is that there's a video going around of Xavier Woods singing Batista's theme song before the show and during the show. And it's fucking hilarious. You guys gotta check it out on Twitter, on his Twitter and all that. But it was an okay match. I wasn't too thrilled with it after the first 10 minutes. But Triple H wins, and, thank you, Batista, for everything you did. And Triple H is still going, believe it or not. He's still wrestling. Next, we have Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle. And what I was really disappointed with, Baron Corbin beats Kurt Angle. I mean, which is fine, because, in professional wrestling, if you're going to go out, you go out on your back, right? Well, I was expecting something afterwards. I was expecting something. Someone to come out, something to happen. But that was basically it. Baron Corbin wins. Kurt Angle says thank you and walks out. And it was slightly disappointing, to be honest with you. I'm happy for Kurt. You all know I love Kurt Angle for all the reasons I've said before. But I just thought it was kind of underwhelming. I didn't think it was that great of a match, to be honest with you. I mean, Kurt is done now. I think. I mean, how often does the retiree go on Raw next night and get squashed? And that's it. I feel like there's more behind it. Is it really Kurt Angle's last match? Probably. I just didn't think that you have Kurt Angle go out in a squash like that on the next night on Raw. So anyways, it wasn't a good match, but I love Kurt Angle, and thank you, Kurt, for everything you've done. And, I'll make a video about that later on, but it wasn't a very good match. But Kurt is apparently officially done with in-ring competition, and thank you, Kurt, for everything you've done. We're almost there. It was a long-ass show, but after this, we had Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental title. And, it was a decent match. It was okay. I mean, you could do something. You could have done this on Raw. We've seen it a million times. The only thing different was just the Demon Finn Balor, but his entrance in person was pretty fucking awesome. It was everything I thought it was going to be. I wasn't a fan of how he kind of rose on top of the stage there. I think he'd have gotten something a little more theatrical, I think. I mean, we kind of needed this for entrance. We didn't get it last year, so I was expecting something huge, and it was good, but I thought they could have done a little more with his entrance, if you will. But his entrance was pretty damn cool to see in person with the red lights and the black and all that. And, Finn Balor wins his new IC title, and or IC champion, rather. And, that's it. There's not much to say with that match other than Finn Balor Demon entrance WrestleMania was pretty damn awesome. Finally, we have the main event, Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. And they had the promo package and all that. You see Charlotte coming in from a helicopter. And a lot of people tweeting me, is like, is she really on a helicopter? There's really a helicopter going around. Let me just say this. There are multiple helicopters going around the arena all night. I think it was for camera shots and everything. But it was definitely possible. I personally, I think it was taped like the night before or something like that. I could be wrong. I just think it wasn't that night. But if she did, have a helicopter come in, land, and walk in the arena. That's pretty fucking badass. I'm not gonna lie. But then we also had Ronda Rousey, come out of the ring to Joan Jett playing her music, A Bad Reputation, and as all of you know, musicians, I love Joan Jett, and that was pretty cool to see live. I'm kind of crossed off my bucket list too, seeing Joan Jett live. And then you had Becky Lynch, and the match was unfortunately only subpar. It wasn't that good of a match. It was really, really underwhelming as well. And the Becky Lynch wins, of course. She wins both titles, and kind of a botched finish, apparently. And the one thing I will mention is that, Ronda's shoulders were kind of down, but that wasn't the match that was going to end. It's still up in the air right now of how the match is really going to end. We'll probably get a real answer within weeks and months to come here, but it's only Thursday, so we're only 4 days removed from WrestleMania. But it really wasn't clarified on how the match was supposed to end, and I'm sure we'll get a real answer, like I said, later on. But it ended with a roll-up from Becky on Ronda, and Ronda gets pinned 1, 2, 3. And everyone's like, "Oh shit! Okay, the match is over. Okay, yay!" And that was really it. That's how the match ended. That's how Becky got her 2 titles. Hashtag Becky 2 belts, and the pyro and everything was in the I don't think it was confetti, but it was an awesome, awesome moment for Becky Lynch. We all knew she was gonna win. She finally got a WrestleMania moment. But what I did find out was that ref who reffed that match in count of 3 apparently got fined. I don't know how much, but apparently got fined for this. And I would think you get fined pretty significantly for butchering the main event of WrestleMania. I just feel like you either get fined or fired. I'm surprised the guy didn't get fired, but apparently he got fined. Nonetheless, Becky Lynch wins both Raw and SmackDown champions in an okay match, pretty rocky finish. But nonetheless, she got her moment at WrestleMania, and it's all us fans really wanted. And for the most part, we all got what we wanted. We got Kofi to win. We got Seth to win. We got Becky to win. I guess you can conclude Finn Balor and Triple H in there, kinda. And the Iconics, I guess, for the most part. But, overall as a show, what I give the show, like a rating out of 10, I would give it a cold 7, I should say. And the reason I say cold is because I'm not really sure. If I was home watching this, my rating might have been a little lower. But since I was there, I give it a 7. It was really good show. A lot of people say it's one of the best WrestleManias I've ever seen. A lot of people say it was okay. So there's not a lot of negative reviews towards it. There are negative reviews towards certain matches, but overall, there wasn't a lot of negative reviews, which is good. A lot of people were expecting this one to be a stinker, if you will, but I don't think it was that bad. I thought it was a pretty good show. And I had a hell of a time. I would definitely go to another WrestleMania for sure. I don't think next year, maybe one time in my life, again for sure. Like I said, I'm getting married next year, so I don't know if I'm gonna fly down to Tampa Bay or not. I don't know if I can swing all that, but I think it's gonna be a WrestleMania to look back on, and it was a really cool WrestleMania. Not much happened, but it was a good show. I think it was a really good show, and I'm glad I went, and I can't wait to go get another one, and I'll never forget the the memories I made there. So overall, pretty damn good show, and hope you all enjoyed it as well here. But next, we're moving on to Monday Night Raw, and like I said, I'm not going to dive into these shows very in depth with Raw and SmackDown. I will say about Raw, though. The only thing I'm going to say about Raw, if you guys want to look at my review, I'll look back on my Raw review from a couple nights ago. The one thing I will say about Raw is that it was a damn good show. It was a pretty damn good show until the last 10 minutes. Like I've said before, I bitched about it a couple nights ago. You had Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins for the for both titles, on the line. And, we knew someone was going to come out, maybe the Undisputed Era, maybe a return from somebody, a debut from somebody from another company, who the hell knows. But no, we get the fucking Bar interfering the match and then somehow making a tag team. And it was stupid. It was fucking stupid. I was sitting there, in the same chair I'm sitting in now watching. It's like saying, what the fuck, You can't go all night without fucking something up, can you, WWE? You can't. You can't. So it pissed me off to no fucking end. And, what was funny is that the crowd was chanting, bullshit and, AW and all that and retaliating, But what was really funny was that if you go back on WWE's YouTube channel, those are overdubbed by kind of like 2K19 sounds. It's hilarious. It sounds like you're in a video game. A lot of people said that too, and I would agree. It sounds like you're playing WWE 2K19. So that was funny. Obviously, WWE's trying to blur out everything that the fans said, but we know what happened. It was a shitty-ass ending, and apparently they said, Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins, they can finish their match later, which might lead to something later down the road. It could be. Who the hell knows? But I think, the ending was pretty shitty, and fuck WWE for that shit. The one thing I will mention about is the Undertaker and Elias segment. As you all know, I'm a huge Undertaker fan, my favorite wrestler of all time. And him not being WrestleMania was disappointing. It wasn't the end of the world. I was okay with him not being there. I accepted it. But what really made me fucking mad was the next day. Okay, the next fucking day was we drove home from New York City, and from our house, about 5 hours, not too bad of a drive. We watched part of Raw in the car, and we finally get home. We finally lay down in bed, and Elias comes on. And he said, next person to interrupt me is a dead man. And my fiance looked at me and said, do you think that means anything? And I said to her, I doubt it. Not even 2 seconds later, you hear the fucking gong go off. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I was trying so hard not to laugh and be angry all at the same time. I went to WrestleMania to potentially see The Undertaker. I didn't go to WrestleMania for The Undertaker by any means. That was stupid of me. But I was hoping he'd be there. And, of course, I come the whole way back home, from exactly where I just was and where it's being broadcast on TV. And then The Undertaker comes out. Oh, fucking course. I'm over it. I'm not that upset anymore about it. But I was just like, oh, fucking course, that fucking figures. But anyways, apparently they did this segment, with Undertaker tombstoning Elias, interrupting all that. Apparently they're setting up for the Saudi Arabia match in June. Okay, fine, whatever. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But we don't know anything about that show yet. We don't know what the hell it's called. We just know it's going to happen in, I guess, June 8th, which I'll be on vacation for, so I'm not going to be home for that as well. But, I just thought, it just fucking figured for me as a wrestling fan, as an Undertaker fan, I should say. So, that was it for Raw, basically. Now, SmackDown was a fucking stinker. That show sucked. I'm not going to review all of it. The only thing I'm going to just touch on is that sounds like they're just going to have Kofi run with the belt for a little bit. You would expect, there was a rumor going around saying that Daniel Bryan was going to challenge Kofi again for the title, and he won it back. But there was no Daniel Bryan. There was no Randy Orton. There was no, I guess it was Randy Orton. There was no AJ Styles, no Asuka, no Mandy Rose, all the big names. There were none of them. None of them were there. And, this is the SmackDown after WrestleMania, and usually the shows are pretty good after Mania. Raw was pretty decent, actually, but then SmackDown just sucked. I can't even tell you right now. I'm not sure what the hell happened, to be honest with you. They had the Kofi Kingston segment where they celebrate, which is pretty cool, and then ended the show with The Bar and Drew McIntyre versus the New Day. New Day win, and it just wasn't good. Nothing was led anywhere. It just wasn't a very good show at all. I'm not gonna touch it. Nothing significant happened on the show at all. I was bored with it. And after the show, I was going to come here and review it because I was home. I fell asleep. That's how bored I was. But, this is going to lead us to Superstar Shakeup. It sounded like Drew McIntyre is already in SmackDown. Maybe they were just doing it to kind of test the waters and all of that. I will mention Lars Sullivan was on both shows. He kind of squashed Kurt Angle. That's what I was kind of pissed off about. Squashed Kurt Angle on Raw. And then on SmackDown, I forget who came out and squashed somebody else, I believe. Hardys. He squashed the Hardys. That's right. And the Hardys win the tag team champions, which is pretty damn cool. Just put that in their fucking accolades. Now they're like the 32nd time they won the tag team titles. I don't know, but it's a lot. I'm sure they have a record somewhere. But other than that, man, that was the only thing that happened in the show that was significant was the Hardys winning the tag team titles. The other thing too I will mention is that they are really, really pushing this Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch segment, aren't they? They happened on Raw and SmackDown, so I feel like it's Becky's new feud, and I'm okay. I'm okay with something new. I'm not gonna say this is shitty yet. I'm not gonna say this is crappy. I'm down with it for now until they fuck it up, and when they fuck it up, then I'll start complaining. But for now, I'm okay with it. I don't hate Lacey Evans. I hate what they're doing with her, but I don't hate her as a wrestler. But we're gonna have to see what happens with that. And apparently, it sounds like at Money in the Bank, it's gonna be Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch for one of the titles. And I'm curious to see what happens with Becky Lynch. Is she going to defend both titles every show, or is she going to have 2 matches every night on pay-per-views? We don't know. And she said in an interview a couple days ago that she does not want the titles unified, which I kind of don't either, but it sounds like it's going to happen sometime within this year before they go over the Fox, sometime in the summer probably. But that's basically it, guys. Holy shit, I'm talking about an hour and a half probably. But I basically just want to come up here and review the whole entire show here. Just want to check my notes, make sure. Just want to make sure that I covered everything here at the end of it. That was basically it. The only other thing I want to mention is that today is Thursday, March. March. What month is it? April 11th. That Road Dogg actually quit SmackDown today, or last night or something. Apparently, something happened with SmackDown on Tuesday, which Vince changed the script, and I guess this happened multiple times with Road Dogg and Vince. And Road Dogg basically just said, "Fuck it, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore," and got mad at Vince and basically just left. He left his position, so I don't know if Road Dogg's still in the company or not. I don't know if he's going to go anywhere else. It wouldn't surprise me at this point if he just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to go with Billy over in AEW." But it sounds like recently there's a lot of backstage problems lately. A lot. Like, the guy got fired at Hall of Fame, and now Road Dogg's pissed. I wonder if that has any connections at all. And then, now we had, what the hell is her name? She got fired too. Sasha Fuentes. She got fired as one of the reporters backstage. This is fine. I think all those reporters, like Joe Cronin mentioned today, they all sound like robots. I would agree 100%, 110%. So, that's not going to break my heart. I just keep Kathy Kelly. I like Kathy Kelly a lot. A lot of people don't, but I like her. I'm not a huge fan of Charlie Caruso, but everyone else can fucking go. I don't care. But she got fired as well. So, I don't know what the fuck's going on backstage, man. There's a lot of shit going on. I'm interested to see what happens the rest of the weekend here, if anything else pops up, anything else happens here. But I think that's it, guys. I got someone to report here. I'm fucking tired. I'm tired talking about wrestling, tired of watching wrestling for a moment here. I think the first time in 20 years, I think it's the first time I ever said that. I think I said enough. So I think this rest of the weekend, I'm just going to take the break from wrestling. I'll probably active on Twitter a little bit, talk about it, but as in terms of watching it and reviewing it and doing a video on it, I think I'm beat. I think I'm spent. So that's the WrestleMania 35 weekend in review here. The one more thing I will mention though, I guess I keep forgetting to add on, was I went to WrestleMania Access, and I can get the VIP premium. I didn't get anything, special. I just got the general admission ticket, and it was okay. I mean, a lot of people said, you get more fun at WrestleCon, which was true. I think if I ever go back, I get the premium. I did see a bunch of cool shit. Saw a whole bunch of, I won't say replicas. I think a lot of like real life, stuff. Like the army truck that they invaded WCW with. A couple replica belts. I went to the ring. I'll put the picture up there too. That was pretty cool. Like the WrestleMania, I guess, one ring. I don't know if it was the actual ring or not, but it was still pretty damn cool to get into that. I sat in Piper's Pit. I look like a fucking log sitting on that. I might post that later on. But a lot of cool, it was like a museum type thing. I was really cool with that. But I think next year, if I ever go, whenever, I'm going to get the VIP passes and do more extra, because I feel like there's a lot more fun stuff to do with the VIPs here. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. I really appreciate you guys listening to the whole thing here. It is my first episode doing this, episode 1. I'm sure the rest of the episodes will not be this long. I decided to just do this one as my first episode. I feel like it seems fitting. I can look back on, a year from now, if I'm still doing this, and say, I started with WrestleMania 35, so, episode 50 will be out 2 weeks before WrestleMania next year, right? So I'm really happy I'm doing this. I think I'm going to keep doing it from now on here. But I'm done talking. I think I'm going to get the hell out of here. So I really, really appreciate you guys listening here. Again, please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I'm very active on all of them. And I will catch you guys next week for Raw and SmackDown and a review for a whole week. And I'm pretty damn tired of wrestling at the moment here. So I'm going to get the hell out of here. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening. Take it easy.